So today's topic is photoelectric transducer. In photoelectric transducer, we will see photoemissive transducer, then photoconductive cell, then light dependent resistor or LDR. We will see photodiode, we will see phototransistor, we will see solar cell. So let us see all these devices one by one. So what is a photoelectric transducer? Photoelectric transducer, as photoelectric, it is composed of two words, photo plus electric. So a transducer which converts the light energy into the electrical energy, that is called the photoelectric transducer. So as I already said, what are the photoelectric transducers? We have solar cell, we have photomultiplier tube, we have LDR or light dependent resistor, we have phototransistor, we have photodiode. So first today we will see what is the photoelectric transducer. So this photoelectric transducer, it is made up of a photosensitive element out of the semiconductor material. So this is my semiconductor material. It will absorb the radiation of light when this light falls on the semiconductor material, and the absorption of this light will energize the electrons in the semiconductor, and hence the electrons will start moving. So this mobility of the electrons will be generating three effects. What are these? The resistance of the material will change, the output current of the semiconductor will change, as well as the output voltage of the semiconductor will change. Okay, these two are metal contacts. We are taking the output from these two metal contacts. That means in the output side we can have through this metal contact, this photoelectric transducer is connected to some external device. Next is photoemissive cell. So here you can see this outer portion of this photoemissive cell. It is made up of the glass material. Okay, now inside this glass material we have this semi-cylindrical shaped cathode and a thin tungsten anode. Okay, and this cathode is connected to the negative terminal of the battery, anode is connected to the positive terminal of the battery. So when the light falls on this cathode, which is called as photocathode, this cathode will emit electrons, and these electrons will be accumulated, or these electrons that are coming out from this cathode will be collected by this anode. So as a result, the electrons will be flowing like this way. Okay, if the electrons are flowing this way, we know the current, which is called the photocurrent here, the movement of the photocurrent will be opposite to that of the electrons. So if the electrons are moving from this way, from left to right, so the photocurrent will be flowing from right to left. And what is the value of the photocurrent? That we can observe in the galvanometer. Okay, and this battery supply will be limited by the rheostat. So here the magnitude of the photocurrent, it depends on the two factors. One is the intensity of the light radiation that is falling on this cathode. Second one is the supply voltage that we are giving through the battery. Next topic is light dependent resistor or photoresistor or photocell or photoconductive cell. So this is how your LDR looks. So LDRs are basically made from the semiconductor materials, mostly the cadmium sulfide or other photosensitive materials. Now why we specifically select this type of materials to make LDR? Because these materials, they have high resistance in darkness and low resistance when they are exposed to the light. And these orange color material that you are observing here, this is a semiconductor material. So we can see that the surface of this semiconductor material or the surface of this LDR is designed with a zigzag pattern to increase the area of the light exposure. Also, this pattern will allow the LDR to sense light from different angles. The entire semiconductor material, it is placed inside a transparent plastic or a glass casing so that it will be protected from the environmental damage. Also, when the light falls on this semiconductor material through the glass, it can easily reach to the surface. Now, LDR has two metal terminals. This is one metal terminal, this is another metal terminal. So, these metal terminals, they are connected to the two ends of the semiconductor materials. Okay. Now, as I told, this semiconductor material or photosensitive material in LDR is mainly the cadmium sulfide. It is mostly used material to make the LDRs because they have excellent light sensitivity. Also, cadmium selenide is also used. It is this material is also used to make the LDR. Because it is also having high light sensitivity, and also some other modern LDRs, they use alternative semiconductor materials due to cadmium concerns over cadmium based compounds, because cadmium based compounds sometimes they are treated as toxic materials. So how this LDR works? Okay, so in the absence of the light, the resistance of these semiconductor material or the resistance of this LDR device is very high, often in the range of the megohm. Okay, so there won't be any current flowing through the device. But when the light falls on this LDR, the photons, that means the light particles, strike on this semiconductor material, and they will transfer the energy to these electrons in the materials. So these energy will excite the electrons in the semiconductor, and so electrons, we know at 0 Kelvin in the semiconductor, it is valence band is completely filled. So upon absorbing the light energy, these valence band electrons, they get excited and jump to the conduction band. Okay, so as we increase the light energy, more electrons will be available to carry the electric current. So as a result, conductivity in the conduction band will increase and the resistance of the LDR will decrease. Since resistance is inversely proportional to the current, so a lower resistance will allow more current to flow through the LDR. So in darkness, what will happen? Due to the thermal energy, still fewer photons will be available to excite the electrons, but the number of electrons that are reaching to the conduction band will be very low. So in that case, the resistance of the LDR will be very high. So it will restrict the current flow, and your LDR in that case will act as an insulator. Now, what are the applications of the LDR? This LDR can be used in automatic street light at night, like it is used to turn the street lights on at night and off during the day. It is used as a light sensors. They are found in cameras for auto brightness control. They are used in solar tracking system. They are used to detect the sunlight direction for adjusting the solar panels. They are used in integrated security alarms to detect the light changes. They are used in automated home lighting. Next topic, so we can see a practical application of this light dependent resistor. So here is my 5-volt battery, and here as load, the bulb is connected. Here one resistor is there to limit the current flowing from the battery, and here the LDR is connected. So, and here also we have connected a transistor. Okay, now this is a practical circuit using the LDR. So when during the dark condition, when no light is falling on the LDR, when no light is falling on the LDR, at that time what will happen? The resistance of the LDR will be okay, let us first consider when you are shining light to the LDR. So when we are shining light to the LDR, the semiconductor material, it is having electrons. So these electrons, they will absorb the photons and they will get excited. As a result, the resistance of the LDR will be low. Why? Because in that case, the excited electrons, they will have the enough energy to jump the conduction band, where they are becoming the where they are able to carry the more current. So if the conductivity of the LDR is increasing, obviously the resistance of the LDR will be low. If the resistance of this LDR is low, that means the voltage across the LDR will be low. Now if this voltage across this LDR is low, this low voltage is going to the base of this NPN transistor. If this is not enough to turn on the transistor, we know in order to turn on the transistor, we need to give minimum of 0.7 volt base drive. If that much of base voltage it is not getting, your transistor will be off. Transistor off means it acts as an open switch. So your circuit is not getting completed. So bulb won't glow. This happens during the daytime. What will happen during the because daytime sunlight is falling on the LDR, right? And what will happen during the night time? During the night time there is no sunlight, so the resistance of the LDR is very high. We have already discussed, it is in the range of meg ohm. So resistance is high means the voltage across these 2 points will be high, so it will provide enough base drive to this NPN transistor. NPN transistor will be on. Transistor on means it will act as a closed switch. Now your circuit is complete. Now your bulb will easily glow in the load side. Next we will discuss one important topic which is called the photodiode. So photodiode, it will convert the light energy into the electricity. Okay. Now we also have previously discussed the solar cell. It also converts the solar energy or light energy to the electric energy. So in the solar panel we mainly use the photodiodes, but the operation of the solar cell, it is a bit different. Not the operation is different, but application wise photodiode and solar cell, they are a bit different. We will see that later. So what is the main function of the photodiode? It will detect the brightness of the light. Okay, LEDs are also diodes, but they convert the electricity to the light. So the main function of the photodiode is to detect the brightness of the light. So this photodiode is mainly constructed using the PN junction diode. We all know the PN junction diode, and this PN junction diode should operate under the reverse bias condition if I want to make this PN junction diode operate as the photodiode. Let us see why. So biasing means connecting the battery at the 2 ends, and reverse biasing means connecting the P side to the negative potential of the battery and connecting the N side to the positive potential of the battery. This resistance is there to limit the current flow. Okay, so N side we have the maximum number of electrons, and P side it is already loaded with the lots of holes. Okay, and we know at the PN junction we don't have any mobile electrons and holes. What we have here, we have the immobile donor and the acceptor ions. At the N side we have the positively charged donor ions, and at the P side we have the negatively charged acceptor ions, and these are the immobile charge carriers. They don't contribute in the electricity. Okay, now if you shine light in the depletion region, this region is depletion region, right? When you shine light in the depletion region, what will happen? So from the band theory of solid, we know at 0 Kelvin valence band is completely filled and conduction band is completely empty. So when you are shining light, the electron in the valence band will absorb that photon energy, and obviously this photon energy should be sufficiently high than this band gap of the semiconductor. So upon absorbing that photon energy, this electron will get excited and they jump to the conduction band. Okay, so if this phenomena, it happens somewhere over here in the N side or somewhere over here in the P side, then after some time electrons and holes will get recombined and nothing special will happen. Okay, that means this electron that got excited in the conduction band and it has become a free electron in the conduction band, so after some time it will recombine with the hole in the valence band and it will release the same amount of energy that it absorbed from this photon when it was in the valence band. Okay, now what will happen after some, so here we are observing that electrons and holes are getting recombined and they are getting lost. This will happen both in the N side and both in the P side. Okay, now if we are shining light in the depletion region, what will happen? Same situation is happening here also. Electron hole pair will get generated. So here the electron hole pair that is getting generated, you can see the electron, it will get attracted to the positively charged donor ion and it will be repelled by this negatively charged acceptor ion and it will get accelerated in this direction, and the hole over here, it will get attracted to this negatively charged acceptor ion and they will get repelled by this positively charged donor ion. Okay, so electrons are getting accelerated over here and holes are getting accelerated over here. Also in the depletion region, what we have the electric field. What is the direction of the electric field? From the right to left, that means from donor ion to the acceptor ion. So due to this electric field, this electron and the hole, they will be quickly swept away from the depletion region. So as a result, we will get a current flowing through the device. Now which direction current will flow? It will be to the direction of the hole or opposite to the direction of the electron. So as a result, we can see the photocurrent, it is flowing through the circuit in this way. Okay, the photocurrent, it is flowing through the circuit in this way. Now if you apply more bright light, what will happen? More photons will be coming to this depletion region, more electron hole pairs will get generated and we will get more photocurrent. Okay, so that is why this photocurrent, the magnitude of the photocurrent will depend upon the intensity of the light, the brightness of the light. That is the main function of this photodiode. Okay, now if I have already considered to make photodiode, we are considering the reverse bias PN junction. Now the question is, why reverse bias? Why not forward bias? If we make this junction forward bias, then in that case what will happen? You can see that we know when a PN junction diode is forward bias, depletion region becomes very narrow. Okay, so even if you are shining light to the depletion region, the electron hole pairs won't get formed. The electron hole pairs won't get the chance to being formed over here. So we won't get the photocurrent. That is the reason if we apply the reverse bias, we will get a very nice and large depletion region over here, and obviously more electron hole pair will get generated and we get the high photocurrent. So if we draw the IV characteristics of this photodiode, so it will be almost similar to the reverse bias PN junction diode. Okay, so suppose in the first case, when you are shining the moderate light, that time we are getting this current like this. Now you increase the intensity of light more, so you will get more current. Okay, now you increase the intensity of the light more, you will get more current. Now when you are not shining any light in the dark condition, due to thermal energy also some electron hole pairs are getting generated over here. So in that case, the current that you are getting in the third quadrant, this is the third quadrant, right? So this current is called the dark current, and this is the symbol of the photodiode. It is similar to the PN junction diode. These two arrows, they represent that light radiation. Next topic we will discuss about the phototransistor. What is phototransistor? So this is the symbolic representation of the phototransistor, and this phototransistor is also a photoelectric transducer. It is a device mainly that has the ability to detect the level of the incident light radiation and accordingly change the flow of the electric current between the emitter and the collector. So this phototransistor, it's almost looks similar to your normal NPN transistor, normal transistor operation. Okay, but only difference is in the base layer. If you are considering an NPN transistor, the base layer, that is a P layer, it is not connected to any external supply. In the P layer we are shining the light. Okay, that is the main difference. Okay, and also we have seen in the normal transistor circuit, the input base current, it controls the output collector current, but here the light that is getting shined in the base region, that will control the current flow, photo current through the circuit. Okay, so this is also a 3-layer semiconductor device, and it will consist a light sensitive base region. So it is basically a transistor whose action depends upon the application of the light. That is why it is named as phototransistor. This phototransistor, it is basically an enhancement of the photodiode, but photodiode and phototransistor both are light sensing device, but the sensitivity of the phototransistor is more than photodiode. Okay, the phototransistor has the ability to give the larger current gain than that of the photodiode. It is similar to as I already said, it is a normal BJT, but only variation is in phototransistor about this base region exists, which is a light sensitive region, and we are not connecting this base region to any external supply. Also this as like it changes the light signal incidenting on its surface into some electrical equivalent form because light is shining on this base material, and the transistor action permits it to perform the amplification of the current flowing through it. Alright, now so in this circuit arrangement, what we can see, we can clearly see that the base region is kept unconnected with the external supply voltage, and it is used as a region for the radiation incidence. Only the collector region, it is connected to the positive side of the battery. Also the emitter region is connected to the negative side of the battery. However, the output we are taking from the emitter of this transistor. So when no light is allowed to incident at the base region of the transistor, then due to the temperature variation, some movement of minority charge carriers across the junction will generate a very small amount of current through the transistor, and which is called the reverse saturation current. Basically, we are terming this current as a dark current. Okay, here in this case the output current will be less compared to the supply provided, but when we are shining light, what happens in the base region, when we are shining light, the electron and the hole pair will get generated, and the applied electric field, the applied voltage over here, it causes the electrons to move into the emitter region, and it will increase a large number of electric current to flow through the circuit. So here the circuit representation of the phototransistor. This is the NPN transistor. As you can see, in the base we are not applying any voltage, but through the supply and collector terminal a resistor is connected to limit the current. Otherwise, if there is no resistor, supply is directly going to your transistor will get damaged. Okay. Now, if we are measuring, if we are plotting the IC versus VCC plot, we can see as we are increasing the intensity of the light in the base region, the collector current is increasing. Next topic is solar cell. So, in the solar powered pump, we have already seen the solar panels, and that time I already told you the solar panel they converts the solar energy or light energy into the electrical energy. So solar cell, it converts the light to electricity. So the operation of the solar cell, it is almost working, and the operation, it is almost somewhat working specially of the solar cell, it is almost similar to the photodiode. Here we are using the PN junction diode, but we are not using any biasing over here. In photodiode we were using the reverse biasing, but in the solar cell we are not using any biasing. So in this case, what happens when you are shining light to this PN junction diode? Inside we already told we have the electrons, in the P side we have the holes, and at the junction we have the depletion region, where we have the immobile donor ions and the acceptor ions. So when you are shining light everywhere, what will happen? In the electron, this N side and P side, if you are shining light, what will happen? The electron hole pairs will get formed and the charge carriers will get lost. Okay, but in this depletion region, if we are shining light, what will happen? In the depletion region we have an electric field from right to left. So before, when you are shining light, electron hole pairs are getting generated, and before they recombine here in this region, they get immediately swept away by this electric field. Electrons are they get swept away in this direction, and holes get swept away in this direction. So these electrons, they will get accumulated in the N side, and these holes, they will get accumulated in the P side. So you can see a voltage difference is getting created between these. Here we have the electrons and here we have the holes. So a voltage difference is getting created in your device. Now, if inside you are putting a metal contact and P side you are putting a metal contact, why we put a metal contact? So that we can connect this device to some external device, and here we are connecting a bulb. So in this case, what will happen? The electrons that are accumulated here, they will start flowing through this bulb, and they will come over here, they will recombine with the holes in the P region. Okay, and your bulb will glow. So here you can see in the solar cell we are not using any supply to glow the bulb. Okay, no supply we are using to glow the bulb. This PN junction diode, this device itself acts like a battery. Okay, so this is the main difference between your photodiode and the solar cell. In the photodiode, if we go back to the photodiode circuit, what we have seen, in this photodiode, when the electron hole pairs, they are getting generated over here, before they recombine, immediately they are getting swept away, so they don't get even a chance to accumulate here. That means the electrons that are getting accelerated in this direction due to the electric field, they don't get a chance to accumulate over here. Also the holes, they are accelerated in this direction, they don't get any chance to accumulate over here. Okay, so they almost immediately get swept away by the electric field, and as a result we get the photocurrent flowing through the device. And in this photodiode structure, the photocurrent that is flowing through this circuit, that depends mostly on the light intensity that you are incidenting on this depletion region rather than this battery. This reverse bias is required to some extent to create the depletion region, but the photocurrent, higher the intensity of the light, higher will be the magnitude of this photocurrent. But we also have seen the case when the depletion region width is narrow during the forward bias condition. That time the electron hole pairs won't even get a chance to form. Okay, and at that time like these electrons will get more current will be flowing through the device. Okay, because if it is a forward bias condition, depletion region width will be narrow. In that case, more current will be flowing through the circuit. That time this battery effect will be more. Okay, but it will mess up our calculation. Here we are only trying to generate the photocurrent based on the electron hole pairs that are getting generated in this depletion region when we are shining light. Okay, next, in the solar cell, what we are happening here, we are also not using any biasing. Okay, this PN junction diode, this device itself acts like a battery. So whenever we are shining light in this depletion region, these electron and holes, they are getting swept away. Electrons are getting accumulated here, holes are getting accumulated here. Electrons, they start flowing through the bulb and they come over here, they recombine with the hole. Okay, as a result the bulb will glow. So that means we are shining light, we are getting the electric voltage, which is, this process is called the photovoltaic effect. So the main difference between the photodiode and the solar cell lies over here. This photodiode is used to measure the intensity or brightness of the light. Higher the photocurrent, higher will be the intensity of the light that you are radiating on the depletion region. But in the solar cell, what will happen, even if you are not using any battery, so these electrons, when they start flowing over here, then this bulb starts glowing. So this converts the light to the electricity, or light energy to the electric energy, even when we are not using any battery, because these electrons and hole pair, they are getting like swept away and they get accumulated over here. But in photodiode, before they get a chance to accumulate over here, they immediately they don't even get a chance to accumulate over here. Immediately they just flow through the circuit. Okay, these electrons, they will get accelerated over here, holes will get accelerated over here, and as a result photocurrent will start flowing. They don't even, before they get a chance to like recombine, they immediately get swept away. Okay, so this is the main difference between your solar cell and the photodiode. Okay, and solar cell we mainly observe in the calculators. Then we have seen in the solar panel, where we were using the solar panel in the solar powered energy pump. So in this solar cell, as I already said, it is a PN junction diode. So N-type semiconductor, thin N-type semiconductor material we use at the top of the device, and this material should be very thin, and the P layer at the bottom should be thin. So why this N layer should be thin? So that the light energy, the photons that are falling over this N region, they can easily cross this N and reach to this depletion region, where all these electron hole pair generation will happen. Okay, until and unless upon absorbing this photon energy, until and unless if it is able to generate the electron hole pair, then there is no point of absorbing that photon energy. That photon energy will become useless, right? Now if we are using, now if I want to connect this solar cell to some external device, I need to have this metal contact. But if metal contact is very thick, then in that case what will happen, more light won't be falling on this semiconductor material, and then it won't reach to the depletion region. Okay, so we need to, but if we are having a very thin metal contact, then thin metal wire, they will have a very large resistance, so that also we don't want. So if we can make this metal contact like this finger like structure, then across this metal contact you are like placing a bulb. So what is the advantage of having this finger like metal structure? You have enough gap over here, this finger like structure like this. Okay, so you have enough gap over here between each finger, so that the light can fall directly on the semiconductor, and these metal contacts like it will ensure enough number of electrons can flow through the circuit and your bulb can glow.